A former wide receiver for an AFC North team was on an outlet called Nightcap recently and claims he has some inside information from a source inside the Browns building. And it involves quarterbacks, the information that he received. The wide receiver is TJ Houshmandzadeh, the former Cincinnati Bengal. And, of course, made famous from TJ Who's Your Mama on the fantasy draft thing, right? That was
exactly, yes.
Oh, no, the one that'll always stick with me on him is Chris Berman. You say Houshmandzadeh, I say Houshmandzadeh. That would always stay in my head.
I still go to Who's Your Mama because of that guy in the fantasy draft. That one cracked me up. Nonetheless, TJ Houshmandzadeh had this to say based on what he says is information from inside the Browns building about the Browns quarterback situation.
Oh, Dylan Gabriel, Shador. There's not enough reps in a practice. I wish two guys would get the majority of the reps one day. Then two guys get the majority of the, I don't know how this is a fair comment because I was told from somebody that's in the building that ain't a player. It's really coming down to Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel. That's what I was told. But now when you get the reports that Shadur's completed 7 out of 9 passes, is it against the starters or is it threes and the fours, the guys that's going to get released? So it seems impressive when you see the graphic, but is it really impressive if it's not against the starters or guys that's going to be on the team?
That's TJ Houshmandzadeh, and that sound courtesy from Nightcap. And he thinks it's Dylan Gabriel or Kenny Pickett based on information that he's receiving from somebody in the building who's not a player. Now, maybe it's the person who grills the steaks. I don't know. But that's what he's hearing.
Everyone's hearing something, right? Everyone has their own feeling on what's going to go on there. I wonder who he's hearing it from, to be honest with you.
Well, he didn't say, did he?
No. So I don't know. How much street cred do you think he has on that?
I would be shocked if he just made that up. But that doesn't mean
I agree with you. I think you don't just make that up.
It doesn't mean that his source in the building actually knows what they're talking about. But I would think he's not going to say it unless he actually believed it.
Plus, didn't we hear that, Flacco, they weren't giving Flacco reps because he kind of knew the system. He's already ahead of the game. So why would you? It almost seemed to be like he was like, why are they giving Shedeur Sanders reps, right? Is that fair to assess from what he said?
I don't know. I didn't take that. To me, the thing that just stood out is that he's hearing Pickett or Dylan Gabriel. I have a thought in my head that's been there since they all went to camp and have been looking at stuff, and it hasn't gone away. And it's this. It wouldn't stun me if Dylan Gabriel was the starting quarterback this year.
Game one.
And I don't.
He's got to be better than Kenny Pickett. That's what I know.
Think. And I would think Joe Flacco. I don't. And the tough early schedule screams veteran.
Screams Flacco.
Well,
does.
Or Pickett. Pickett. Is Pickett better than Flacco at this point in both of their careers? We'll find out. This is not Joe Flacco circa 2012.
We're hoping that he is Joe Flacco circa 13 games ago.
Circa 5 games.
Or 18 games ago. That's what we're hoping.
Well, we'll see.
Or 19 because we don't throw the playoff.
But I just wonder with Gabriel, this guy is, they drafted him ahead of Sanders and they drafted him in the 3rd round when most folks didn't think he'd go that high for a reason. He's played 6 years of college football. He has a ton of games under his belt. All of his numbers scream what Kevin Stefanski wants out of a quarterback. Control the football, don't turn it over, run the offense. He's got a good arm. I mean, the only thing he doesn't do well is he's short. That's the only thing that he didn't do well in college. He ran it well, has good feet. Didn't get sacked a ton. He's short. That's it. And I don't think my thought is right. I'll say that. But I just this thought has been in my head that I wouldn't be stunned if that guy ends up as the starter.
It wouldn't shock me either.
Game 1.
The only one that would truly shock me is Sanders.
Yep.
I still think Pickett is the first guy they went out and got. I think Pickett is a guy that they believe will work well in Kevin's system. And we know Flacco will work well as long as he's throwing to us instead of the other team, right? That's a fair assessment. And even when he throws the other team, he had success until the playoff game 2 years ago. To me, it still looks like Pickett, Flacco, Gabriel, Sanders. That's just me, throwing something at it. But you have to believe they're going to give Gabriel opportunity to try to break through. I do agree with you that the way this schedule looks in the beginning of the season, and if you're a coaching staff that is worried about wins, you're going to go with a vet. There's no way I'm handing the ball to a rookie with that kind of a schedule, especially early on.
What if he looks better?
You're rolling the dice, don't you think?
Well,
I mean, exactly. Exactly what you're going to get from Flacco.
Would you agree with this though?
I think you're going to get a better Kenny Pickett with Kevin Stefanski than we've seen before.
Would you agree with this? Aren't they rolling the dice with any of these 4 guys?
I guess it's. Are you asking for long-term play, or are you saying, okay, we want to draft a quarterback?
Start the season. Aren't you rolling the dice?
I think
one of these 4 guys?
The easy play right out of the gate is Joe Flacco. That's easy play.
Well, it's easy, but is it the right one?
I don't know. The fans aren't going to be mad if Joe Flacco starts, are they?
Some.
The ones that want Shedeur Sanders.
No, the ones that want something that might resemble a future quarterback possibility.
Well, if your future is now the next 18 games, Flacco might be able to get you through that.
But it might not be now.
Might not be what?
Your future might not be now.
Well, so, I mean, is anyone going to be mad if the Browns make the playoffs with Joe Flacco and it's his last season?
No.
I'm not.
No.
God forbid they go and they have a home playoff game and they win. I'm not expecting any of that. But I don't care if his shelf life in the NFL is 1 year. If you can get us to the last game of the season where there's only 2 teams playing, okay, we only got 1 year out of him, but that's okay. And everybody go, I wish you'd come back for another year. Just get me there. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care how long they're going to be there right now.
Well, it's funny you say that.
I don't want to. I'm tired of losing. We had that call earlier today. It's just like, come on. I don't want to walk into a season thinking they're going to lose it.
I was absolutely just thinking this. It wouldn't faze me one bit if any of the 4 guys was the starting quarterback for game 1. It wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't faze me. My complete attitude would be this. Okay. Obviously, that guy showed that he's the best out of those 4 guys right now to start this season. If it happens to be Joe, then good. The other 3 guys, the rookies and Pickett didn't pick him out. If it's one of the rookies, well, then they really made a leap and they showed that he's the best guy, to start for this football team.
But it doesn't work that way always, right? The politics.
No, what I said was I wouldn't be phased.
Okay.
I wouldn't be phased. It's great. That guy beat him out. That's what I want. I want somebody to beat out everybody else and to really look like the best guy. And if it happens to be the 40-year-old, then it means the young guys you have aren't ready to go or aren't very good, and you'll be getting a quarterback in 2026.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
If you're in the sales department of the Browns, if you're in the marketing department of the Browns, who do you want to start?
Shedeur Sanders.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like, I wouldn't even think twice about that. I think Shedeur Sanders will drive people to buy tickets if they need to sell them, right? I think Shedeur Sanders drives the marketing piece
absolutely
of what this is all about.
I think the bottom guy on the marketing chart would be Dylan Gabriel.
Or Kenny Pickett.
Or Pickett, but yeah. I think Pickett's a little more interesting because he's a former first-round pick and played for the Steelers for 2 years. Personally. What do you think about that? If you're ranking them from a marketing standpoint, it's clearly Shedeur on top. Does that matter?